Maptitude is a powerful combination of software and geographic data that provides everything you need to realize the benefits of business mapping and spatial analysis in an easy-to-use package. This video demonstrates some of the ways that you can use Maptitude and the Canada Country package to map and analyze your data. The Create a Map wizard is your starting point when working with Maptitude. You can choose to create a general-purpose map, where you can specify whether to create a map of the entire country, or zoomed and centered on a town, a postcode, or specific address. You can choose to create a map of territories, and then choose to build your territories interactively on a map, from a table, or from a set of points or areas. Or you can choose to create a map using your spreadsheet or tabular data. When you choose to map your own data, Maptitude prompts you for the file that contains your data. This could be an Excel worksheet, an Access table, or any of several other formats. In this case, I'm going to use an Excel file that contains the names and addresses of my customers, some sales data for the customers, and the sales territory to which they belong. Once you have chosen what type of map you want to create, click Next, and Create a Map wizard will guide you through the process of creating your map. On this screen, Maptitude shows the fields in the Excel spreadsheet that can be used to map the data. These are correct, so I'll click Next again. Next, choose how to use the data on a map. You can create a pin map using any of the Locate options, or you can show data from the spreadsheet aggregated to an area layer. For example, I'm going to choose the Show FSA Code Boundaries with Your Data Attached option, and Maptitude will determine the number of customers that are located within each FSA, as well as the total and average sales. Here you can choose whether to have Maptitude thematically illustrate the results using different colors, varying sizes, pie charts, dot densities, or 3D prisms. For example, I'm going to choose the Color Theme option, and choose to show the second quarter sales data as a color theme on my map. When I click Finish, Maptitude looks through the data in the Excel spreadsheet, determines the total second quarter sales for each postcode, and opens a map showing the color theme of the sales. Postcodes shown in lighter colors will have lower sales, and postcodes shown in darker colors will have higher total second quarter sales. Maptitude maps are fully customizable. For example, I can use the Zoom and Pan tools to change the area that is visible on the map. I can choose to hide or show any of the layers in a map which are listed here in the Display Manager. For example, I can hide the streets layer by clicking the symbol here. I can change the labels by clicking on the label symbol for a layer in the Display Manager. For example, I could change the font, size, style, or color of the postcode labels, or I can click Remove to remove the labels entirely from the map. And I can customize the map theme or add additional themes to the map. For example, I could add a chart theme illustrating my data by clicking this button, then scroll to the bottom of the list to see my calculated data fields. I'm going to highlight the quarter 1 and 2 sales fields, choose a vertical bar chart, and click OK. Now, for example, you can see that sales increased in this postcode and decreased in this one. You can also see the data for a layer in tabular form using a Maptitude data view. I'm going to right-click on the postal area layer here and choose New Data View. Maptitude displays the postal area data. Before I look further at this data, I'm going to lock this field so that it is always visible. You can see this data view shows the demographic data provided with Maptitude, such as population and age distribution, which are shown in these first few fields. And if I scroll to the end, you can also see the customer and sales fields determined from the Excel spreadsheet of customer data. If I sort the postcodes by the number of customers in each one, you can see which postcode districts have the most customers and the total and average sales values for those postcodes. You can also create formula fields using any combination of data. For example, I could divide the sales by the population to determine the average sales per capita in each postcode. Or, in this case, I'm going to use the data fields from my spreadsheet and create a field that shows the percent change in sales from quarter 1 to quarter 2. And I'll call this new field percent change in sales. You can use formula fields in the map as well. For example, I'm going to change the color theme to show the change in sales formula field that I just created. And I'm going to choose this Break Add option so that negative and positive values will be shown with different colors. The postal areas shown in blue had a sales decrease, and the postal areas shown in red had an increase, where the darker the shade of red, the greater percentage increase in sales. Now I want to show the location of each individual customer on my map so I can see where my customers are concentrated. First, I'm going to remove the chart theme from the map because it shows information that my color theme is now showing, and click the New File button again to use Create a Map Wizard. Notice that Maptitude remembers my customer spreadsheet file here, so I can go ahead and click Next. This time, I'm going to use the first option to have Maptitude locate my customers on the map, and make sure this box is checked to add the customer locations to the existing map. Since the customers already have unique IDs, I can go ahead and click Next, and enter a name for the new customer point layer, and click Save. You can choose to show each customer with a different color or size, but for now I'm just going to add them without a theme. Maptitude determines the location of each customer and displays a report showing how the records were located. You can see that most of the customers were located using the exact street and postcode information. Several records, however, may have had no postcode information or incorrect postcodes, but Maptitude found the correct location by interpolating the address and nearby postal codes. And finally, there was one record for which Maptitude could not find an address, so it simply located it within its respective postcode. For example, the address may be a post office box or a building name with no address. When I click OK, Maptitude updates the map showing the customer locations. I can now use the Info tool to see information about the individual customers on the map. You can see that the name, address, sales, and territory information that were in the original Excel spreadsheet are displayed for each customer feature on which I click. There are many different analyses that you can do once your data are on a map. For example, suppose you want to know which customers are within 10 kilometers of the city center. You could use the radius tool in the drawing toolbar and click right here somewhere on the map, and I'll enter 10 for the radius and click OK. If I right-click on this radius and choose Export to Excel, Maptitude will create an Excel workbook that will include several sheets of data from my map. This first sheet just lists all of the populated places within the 10-kilometer radius. This next sheet lists all of the customers that are within the 10-kilometer radius circle. Notice that it also shows the distance and travel time from the center of the circle. The third sheet is derived from my theme and shows the percentage change in sales for each of the postal areas located at least partially within that circle. And this last worksheet contains demographic data for the population that lives within the circle, such as the total population and its age breakdown. You can also do a Drivetime analysis with Maptitude. First, I'm going to hide the postal area layer and delete the circle that I added. And now I'm going to click this button to open the Drivetime Rings toolbox. And I'm going to click a location on the map and create 3 rings at 10-minute intervals. And finally click this button to create the rings. This inner ring shows the location that can be reached within a 10-minute drive from where I clicked. Everywhere within the next ring is 10 to 20 minutes away, and everywhere within the outer ring is 20 to 30 minutes away. So you can see that the vast majority of the customers are within 30 minutes of the location that I chose. Similar to the previous radius analysis, it is also possible to create a report or export the results to Excel if you want. I can create a territory layer for my customers by clicking the New File button and choosing Territories. Because my original spreadsheet had a field with each customer's territory, I can choose to create them from my customer point layer. Now base the territories on features in the postal area layer. And here I can choose to track data such as population, number of households, or sales for the territories. Finally, I'll enter a name for the new territory and click Save to create the territories. You can see that Maptitude creates the territory layer on the map, and the Territory Manager shows the total second quarter sales for each territory. At this point, you could use the tools in the Territory Manager to modify your territories, and the Territory Manager will track the changes in the sales. For example, you could balance your territories by moving some of the postal areas from the territories with higher sales to territories with lower sales. Maptitude also includes tools that you can use for finding efficient routes among any number of waypoints. You can choose the stops to visit in several ways, such as by entering an address one at a time here, filtering a point layer such as your customers with the features that you want to visit and choosing them with this button, or just simply use this tool and click on the map. Once you have specified the stops, click Get Directions to have Maptitude find a route that visits the stops in the order you specified. For example, you can see that this route is 84.4 kilometers and will take 1 hour and 52 minutes of driving time. Alternatively, you can click Optimize and Maptitude finds a route that reorganizes the stops to minimize the driving time. You can see that visiting the stops in this order will now be 60.1 kilometers and take 1 hour and 22 minutes. That wraps up this introduction to using your data with Maptitude and the Canada Country package. There are many more videos available on the Caliper website that go into greater detail about the features mentioned in this video, including thematic mapping, working with territories, creating drive time rings, and finding routes, as well as other features not included here, such as creating buffers and catchment areas, finding hotspots, filtering data, and sharing your results. Keep in mind that while those videos use data from many different countries, the functionality is the same no matter what Maptitude country package you are using. Thank you for your interest in Maptitude, and please visit www.mappingsoftware.com for more information.